Hey, Paul, good to have you back on Wealth Talk today.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, look, it's been a while actually. Just having a look back, and back in July 2020, in the thick of it, right then, weren't we? And
We
that
certainly
time
were.
we were talking about 6 tax saving tips for business owners. And if you have not listened to that episode, absolutely do make sure you go back and do so. That was episode 66, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes. But today, talking about more tips for business owners, Paul. So today we're talking about 3 SaaS strategies that business owners can use to build more wealth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, excited to get stuck into it again. And I promise it won't be another almost year before I'm on again. So,
Well, we know you're a busy man. We're all busy each day helping our members and our clients of WealthBuilders, and lots of positive feedback. Don't worry, we've been shouting you out in many of the episodes with all the lovely reviews that we get on Trustpilot and all the people that are so grateful for the help that you give them.
fantastic.
So, Paul, let's dive in. So, SaaS strategy number 1 that business owners can use to build more wealth. What's that one?
Yeah, sure. So, number 1 is using the money you've built up, and whether that's from contributions or whether that's from, amalgamating existing pensions into your SaaS and using it to support your business by buying your own business premises from yourself. So this is for existing business owners who've already got a business premises, but they're looking to perhaps change the way they hold their assets or make things slightly more tax efficient. And basically what I'm talking about is using the money they've accumulated in their SaaS, as I say, to buy their premises from themselves. Actually exchange the SaaS with the cash, buying the premises, so effectively switching the property and the money around. The business has now got an injection of capital into its bank account. It can use that money for anything it wants. It can go out and buy more equipment or hire more staff or invest in new systems, all those important leverages that you teach so well in the academy, Chris. But, effectively what you've done then is take that commercial premises, plonk it inside the tax-free environment of the SaaS, and that creates a few things. It creates a new stream of income coming into the SaaS in the form of the rental income from the property. The business becomes the tenant and the SaaS becomes the landlord. So because there's a landlord and a tenant, the SaaS has to charge a rental income. It charges the rental income to your business. That rental income is a tax deductible expense. So not only are you generating a new flow of income into your SaaS, which is in a way kind of like a new source of contribution, you're also being able to offset the cost of that rental income against your corporation tax bill.
Smart.
Yeah. Pretty cool, right? So just a very, very simple change, nothing hugely sophisticated, but just simply by shifting the way your SaaS and your business own things can really actually make quite a big difference to your tax position, to the growth and the value of your SaaS, which of course is entirely free of tax and is a tax-free legacy when you're no longer here.
Yeah. All right. So that's really cool. I like that one. What about if you don't own your own premises yet?
Well, can I just add one more thing, actually? Because I just remembered or just thought of one extra thing that's I suppose, relevant as well, especially given the year we've just had, right? Everyone's sick to death of hearing about COVID, I'm sure. But I suppose what it highlighted is that, businesses can be susceptible to volatility and things that you can't see coming can have a massive impact on the business. And I suppose one of the added benefits to having the property in the SaaS is that it's ring-fenced. And that means that it's now no longer owned by the business. And therefore, if the business were encountering a problem and it owned a valuable asset, well, that asset could come under attack from creditors, bankruptcy, insolvency claims. if there's been a transaction and that asset has moved into now being ring fenced into the SSAS, it's now no longer the property of the business. It's actually owned by the SSAS. So you're almost safeguarding that asset for the future as well. As just a natural part of that transaction.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
Worth pointing out very quickly, I guess, too, that, if you're buying and selling an asset, you might well find that any gain on that property that's been made could be subject to tax. So obviously something you need to have a good chat with your accountant about if that was something that was of interest.
Okay, that's really cool. So that's strategy number one. Now, what about if you don't own your own premises already, Paul?
Well, then strategy number two is using the money you've built up in your SSAS to see if you can go out and buy yourself a new premises. There are lots of benefits to owning your own premises and running from there. And I suppose chief among which is you stop paying rent to somebody else and start paying it to your SSAS instead. Most businesses need a premises to operate from, right? No matter what you do. And therefore, the chances are you're probably renting somewhere at the moment if you don't own. Now, that means you're paying good money out to somebody else and building their wealth. Well, by using your SSAS to buy a business premises that you can then operate from, you're effectively switching from paying rent to somebody else to paying it into your own pension instead.
And with the situation as it is, there may now be some great opportunities out there because, there's been a shift in the way people are working. So there may now be some really good premises available.
Well, absolutely. And look, we always see, sadly, whenever there's a crisis, there's especially something like, COVID happening, there's always opportunity and the commercial property world, I suspect, has taken a bit of a battering in certain sectors and lots of property now is perhaps undervalued, creates a great opportunity for somebody else. But it's also the opportunity to see if you can find a new way of creating wealth by being inventive and picking a property that fits the needs of business owners today. Far more people working more flexibly, working from home, shared office space is probably on the up. All those sorts of things, all those types of property are certainly possible to hold within a SSAS.
Absolutely. So that potentially leads us into strategy number 3, which is being more creative with your thinking. And what's that one, Paul?
Well, I guess you'd call that spare capacity. So what I mean by that is whether you own your own premises and you use strategy 1 and have your SSAS buy it from you, or you go out and you find a premises to buy, there's always a question mark for me about whether there's the ability to use any of the spare capacity of the building to generate more wealth, to leverage more income, if you like. And by that, I mean seeing if you can take a piece of your property, the space in your building, whatever it might be, and creating something that could be rented out to another business. I'm sure lots of businesses have got space they don't use in their building, all sorts of different types of businesses and properties. But, most people, I'm sure, have got space that they don't use so much, or perhaps they don't use at all. And it's effectively just, dead space that they could potentially turn into a completely new stream of income. And of course, by doing that, it's tax-free injection of income into the SSAS. They're boosting their pension wealth and all the good things that come with that. And, it's, I suppose, one of the fundamentals of what we teach, Chris, isn't it? Is to try and create sustainable income. And if you've got an asset already, leveraging it to try and, boost the income is a really powerful tool.
Yeah. It's all about shifting your mindset, thinking like an entrepreneur. And I can see such huge opportunities here because, as we've said, people are changing the way they work. But a lot of people, they don't necessarily want to work from home all the time. They just want a bit more flexibility. So I can see a lot of local businesses now, maybe shops who've got space upstairs and a few extra rooms where there will be people locally who would happily come in and hire a desk And, that could be reconfigured pretty easily without much cost, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Great. So there's our 3 SaaS strategies that business owners can use to build their wealth. And Paul, for anyone perhaps who's not familiar with SaaS and certainly the process at WealthBuilders, you've been our SaaS director for many years now, Paul. So just explain to people, what is the process? How do we help people leverage their pensions?
Yeah, sure, of course. I mean, basically what we do with business owners is take them through a clear step-by-step journey which shows them the tools that a SaaS has and the strategies that it can use, and basically help them build a strategy based around their circumstances, their goals. There's no one size fits all in business. There's no one size fits all in SaaS. So what we do is we work with people on a one-on-one basis. We give them one-to-one guidance and support, which effectively means walking them through the journey of firstly creating their SaaS and having it registered. And we've got a really exciting, unique proposition with some fantastic trustee administrator partners that we work with to do that. We then help them think about the fuel that's going to go into their SaaS, and that can be existing pensions, it can be contributions, it can be the importance of taking advice and guidance from other professionals like IFAs and accountants to do that properly and safely. And then, the most exciting part, of course, is helping them understand how their SaaS can be a fantastic tool to leverage their wealth, to grow their assets, to create streams of income inside their SaaS, but also to synergize with their business. So that sort of one-on-one hand holding, if you like, if you want to call it that, support, guidance, to take them through the journey and support them on into, making the shift from planning for deployment into actually then deploying their money. And of course, that's a whole new exciting stage that we're a big part of too.
Yeah. And if anyone listening now is interested just to find out a little bit more, have a chat with one of our team, they can head to wealthbuilders.co.uk/discovery call and just to find out a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd be delighted to chat for sure.
Great. Paul, thanks so much for sharing with us today.
Pleasure, Chris. Thanks again.